Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for September 2023. So welcome to September. It has been definitely a couple of bumpy months, and now coming into September, we are gifted with the opportunity to restructure, to reorganize, especially where our thoughts and our heart are concerned. And a lot of that is because, of course, Venus and Mercury, now retrograde, we will see them go direct throughout the month of September. And in the process of doing that, we get to rearrange and reorganize our physical realms. We've had a change of heart. We've had a change of scenery. We've had a change of ideas. And therefore, it is going to be a very low, slow, steady approach to kind of reorganizing and restructuring the topics, the themes, the problem areas that, of course, has been very much illuminated in our face over the last couple of months. So September brings the vibration of 9. 9, of course, is about endings and closures in order for a new chapter, a new adventure, new quest, new mission, new purpose to unfold. We do have to kind of wrap things up in order for there to be a clean slate for the new to unfold. And because we are kind of re-emerging as this new versions of self with Venus going direct, we're definitely going to have to be putting one foot in front of the other to close out the old and to anchor in the new. Of course, we're entering into September under Virgo season, the vibration of 6. We're very focused on our day-to-day lives. We're focused on what is broken, what isn't working, what isn't supporting us. We're focused on really creating order where there's been chaos. We will be shifting into Libra season. That brings the vibration of 7. We should be very familiar with this. We're in 2023, which is the vibration of 7, putting us in a situation to really work on the relationship, first of all, with ourselves. Now, keep in mind that Libra season also ushers in the equinox energy, which is a resetting of the karmic scale, so to speak, of this spiritual battlefield that we have been fighting on. This is going to help us kind of defrag the old energies connected to the old self, connected to the old realm that the old self had created. And in that, anchor in the parts of self, the parts of our new mission, the parts of our new path that we will be working on as we enter into a new chapter of creation that, of course, the equinox energy kind of cleans the slate for us to build upon. Now, September starts on a Friday, and Fridays are ruled over by Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. Venus, currently kind of nearing the end of her retrograde, does suggest that we're going to have a lot of focus on Venusian topics and themes, which are self-love, self-worth. It is taking a good look at our physical realm, taking a good look at our routines, our relationships, our money matters, our long-term goals, and of course, figuring out what and who needs to stay, needs to go. We should have had these illuminations while Venus was retrograde, but now it's time to actually take action, make moves, rearrange our physical realms to match what it is that we've already arrived at within ourselves. The moon is going to go from Pisces energy, again, we're still in the full moon energy, kind of closing out August here, into Aries energy on the 1st, which is another significant validation that we are ending chapters, are closing the door on topics and themes and life lessons in order for us to start fresh and start new in that Aries energy, definitely connected to a new emotional cycle. I think that we are going to see a lot of confusion, yes, but that confusion kind of clear. I think we're also going to really have to be real and raw and honest with ourselves. And of course, we get that energy coming from Venus being in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. We have to be real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves to really understand where we have to be bold and brave and courageous to break away from the old programming that has us in looping patterns, looping behaviors, looping thoughts, and of course, create new neural pathways, new intentions, new visions, new belief systems. It's going to be very, very tedious, but the Virgo energy is the absolute perfect energy for us to focus in on these smaller details, especially what it is that we're focused on in the mental plane. So keep in mind, there are 7 retrograde planets. Again, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we are in a time of looking back. The only way that we are moving forward is going back. We are in the back to the future chapter, which means that as eager as we all are to get kind of started in initiating new chapters, new paths, new directions, new ideas, the only new things that we are bringing to life are in the space of the things that we are ending, closing the door on, putting a death to. And again, very low, slow process here. Now, with 7 retrograde planets, again, this is why confusion is at an all-time high. There's a lot of inner workings that need to be done instead of actual external moves being made. And throughout the month of September, we're going to be triggered and activated with some of these astrological events to really kind of redefine what needs to happen inside of ourselves in order to make the changes within ourselves before we can make the changes out in our exterior realm. So we jump into it all on the 3rd. This is when Venus goes direct at 12 degrees in Leo. Now, direct, again, she does have a couple of weeks post retrograde shadow period, but we do have the ability to start externalizing our energy. When planets are retrograde, we take that energy inwards. There's not a whole lot we can do in our external realm. Well, now that Venus is going direct, we're able to put hands on in our physical realm on the topics and themes, on the elements that we have arrived at within ourselves while retrograde that need to go, that needs to be kind of rearranged, restructured, resorted. Now, this isn't all about cutting things and people off as much as it is recognizing who and what is supporting or not supporting, who and what is contributing to happiness, to joy, who is sucking that life force energy out of our lives. We're going to see a little bit of a tag team action here because on the 4th, not only 24 hours later, we're going to have Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, go retrograde. So it's almost as if Jupiter is saying, you know what, Venus, you got to get out of this ring. You got work to do. You already have arrived at some of the situations and scenarios that you need to put hands on and rearrange and reorganize and restructure in your life. Why don't you get to it? I'll jump into the ring. I'll internalize my energy because I need to sit back and really, really get real and raw and vulnerable with myself on whether or not I'm still working towards the same goal, the same vision, the same dream. Considering the fact that Jupiter is in Taurus energy, Venus rules over the Taurus energy. Taurus energy is a fixed earth sign ruling over our physical realms where routines, relationships, money matters, and long-term plans are concerned. Jupiter is all about giving us the opportunity to make a change in our physical realms in order to create a realm and reality that looks good and feels good, because now we're in alignment with our higher selves. We're collapsing what has been kind of birthed out of the egoic programming. We are getting rid of those particular aspects, and we are kind of giving birth to a new version of our realities based off of this new version of self. Now, Jupiter going retrograde will take us into the end of December. We actually go direct December 30th. So that's setting us up for a clean slate, if you will, moving into 2024. But Jupiter needs us to really just kind of realize where it is that there's some inner growth that's needed. Maybe the change, the transformation, the opportunities that we were hoping to see in our external realm aren't happening, which means that we have to rearrange and restructure how it is that we're thinking and feeling inside of ourselves and seeing where there's an opportunity to kind of grow out of that comfort zone, that perspective, that goal, that vision, that dream, and conjure up something new in its place. It takes us into the 14th, where we have the new moon taking place in Virgo energy at 21 degrees. This is a continuation to the full moon in Pisces that we just had at the end of August. It is still very much on the healing axis. Whatever it is that we are emotionally and karmically defragging ourselves under that full moon in Pisces will come full circle, come right into our faces for the new moon in Virgo. That, of course, will illuminate the bad narratives, the bad focuses, the bad habits, the bad routines, the bad things that we're continuing to do that are going to keep the old version of self anchored in and in control. The new moon in Virgo gives us a beautiful opportunity to kind of shift our mind space, rewrite those narratives, examine where it is that we can create better systems, routines, and habits for ourselves that will kind of create a new pathway, not only in our brain, but in our focus in our physical realm on what it is that we want to stabilize, what it is that we want to create, where it is that we have to kind of be a little bit kinder with taking care of ourselves, especially nurturing this new version of self that is going to take some time to actually be anchored in. Not only 24 hours after that new moon event, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication, going direct. Now, Mercury has been in his rulership over Virgo season. He was in his rulership over the new moon in Virgo, but retrograde for all of it. Considering the fact that he's going to need a couple of weeks for that post-retrograde shadow period to clear, he essentially is spending the entirety of his rulership season in a fog, in a state of confusion. But again, when we have a planet come out of a retrograde and go direct, it means that we're able to tackle the external realm. All the things that we've been thinking about and analyzing and dissecting, really recognizing what isn't working, what we can improve, what we can do better, where it is that there's been chaos, where it is that we desire order. All of these things that are Mercury ruled will be able to actually be changed around, manipulated. We can actually rearrange whatever it is that we've been thinking about, whatever it is that's been asking our attention. Yes, it's going to need a couple of weeks in order to be super clear, but we get to work the minute that a planet actually goes direct. This carries us into the 23rd when Libra season begins. And of course, this is the equinox energy. You can always expect the week prior to a significant event such as the equinox or the solstice for things to reach a peak critical crisis point. Things get crazy, things get pressure filled, things get intense in order for those scales to be so out of balance that we see them come into balance once the equinox hits. And there's no joke on why Libra season rules over the scales. It gives us an opportunity to reestablish balance in our lives. First of all, the balance between our heart and our head, the balance between our inner realm and our outer realm, the balance between who it is that we now are and the relationship dynamics that now have to change due to this new version of self actually emerging. It is going to be a time and a focus on not only creating balance, but making peace, coming to terms of acceptance with some situations and circumstances that we've been banging our head against a wall in order for us to create a sense of peace and harmony in our current circumstances in the here and now. Leads us to the 29th, where we will have the full moon taking place in Aries energy, which is our halfway marker of this astrological calendar. The full moon, of course, going to illuminate where it is that we need to break free, where it is that we have to let go, where it is that we have to release. Now, considering the fact that the Aries energy does rule over the ego self, and we are trying to anchor in this new version of self, we have to go back and understand that the full moon in Pisces at the end of August was attempting to remove some emotional and karmic baggage from the old version of self, from the pain and the trauma and the memories that the old version of self has created. That new moon in Virgo that we're going to have mid-month is going to help reorganize the parts that are left. By the time we get to the full moon in Aries, we're going to be frustrated and angered in such a way by realizing where it is that our old circumstances, our old relationship dynamics are triggering that old self to be continuously anchored in, preventing the new version of self from actually taking the leadership role. This is our opportunity to be bold and brave and courageous, to cut the cord, to take the leadership role, to tap into that warrior type of attitude in order for us to really see where we need freedom, where we need independence, to get to know ourselves once again, to stand very strongly, very firmly in this new sense of self and follow our passion, follow our dreams, putting our own wants, needs, and desires back at the top of the list. Because may I remind you that the only way that we can actually change the world for good, the only way that we can contribute to the greater, grander collective is being as happy within ourselves, as real and raw and authentic within ourselves as we can possibly be. So if you want to be the change in the world, you have to be the change that you want to see. And that all starts with a firm grasp on who it is that you are, who it is that you have always been, and who it is that you have absolutely been pushing to reemerge, to take the lead and lead us in a new path, in a new direction that is in alignment with our higher selves. So that is the astrology for September in a nutshell. I am going to recommend that you download your zodiac forecast, that you understand where these particular energy events are taking place in your life. There are guides for this. There are forecasts for this. There will be multiple astro forecasts over the course of the month to help you navigate, to stay ahead of the energies, and to really understand where it is that you're breaking away from the old, that you're trying to anchor into the new, and the very low and slow detail process that it is going to require over the course of September.